Is Dune Part 2 really as good as everyone has been saying, or are people over-exaggerating by calling it a modern masterpiece and the best movie ever made? I had the opportunity to watch Dune Part 2 at an early fan screening, and I'm letting you know right now, this is not the best movie ever made. But believe the hype, this is genuinely one of the best movies I've seen in the last 5-10 years, especially if you're a big sci-fi filmmaking fan. So no, these TikTokers are not being paid, they just genuinely like this movie. Me included, I bought my own fucking ticket. When I posted my initial reaction, it was really just a giant glaze session, but after having a few days to really sleep on it and think about the movie more, I have a more definitive, in-depth review here. And I'm gonna break it down like this. I'm gonna give you my overall opinion of the movie, go over the story and the themes in a spoiler-free manner, then talk about the technical aspects of this movie, so like the visual effects, the visuals, the cinematography, the action sequences, the score, the sound, etc. And then we gotta talk about some of these cast members' performances because they killed it. And believe it or not, yes, I got some criticism for this movie. Starting off with my overall opinion, Dune Part 2 is the epitome of modern science fiction blockbuster filmmaking. It's a film that's gonna birth a new generation of sci-fi fans, turn sci-fi naysayers into sci-fi believers, and just make sci-fi truthers like ourselves reach nirvana. This is a masterclass in filmmaking. It should be what all blockbusters strive to be. Denis Villeneuve has officially stamped and cemented himself as one of the most meticulous directors working today. He does not miss. Pairing him with elite cinematographer and Greg Fraser and legendary film composer Hans Zimmer, his score and the upper echelon of working actors today makes this the Steph Curry KD Warriors. Unfair near perfection. Moving on to the technical aspects of the movie, as mentioned before, pairing Greg Fraser's cinematography with Denis Villeneuve's direction was just impeccable. The shot composition was just perfect down to the little details and really just breathtaking to look at. The visual effects are just so damn unnoticeable that it makes everything feel real, and that's really how you want your visual effects to be. The worlds feel fully realized and the sandworms feel like they could be real. All of the advanced technology, weapons, and vehicles they use, which is all wrapped together beautifully with Hans Zimmer's incredible score. But the fucking sound design? Shit made me feel like I was really in war. Don't even get me started on the action sequences. If you thought the first one was lacking in action, they said, huh, hold my beer in this one. And they gave us some of the most intense, visceral, heart-pounding action I've seen in a long time. There's some hand-to-hand combat and knife fighting in this that I was just like, in awe. Some John Wick shit. They had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. And it's also a war film. It evokes the epics like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Avatar, Gladiator, Game of Thrones in there a little bit, Lawrence of fucking Arabia. Now, while it does have these grand in scale action set pieces, it's more quiet and emotional core story elements that keep me hooked. It's a story that tackles many topics and themes like colonization, religion, faith, and politics, and how mixing all of those themes into this fucking concoction of sci-fi goodness gives us Dune. Moving on to the performances, Timothée Chalamet is now Timothée Chalamet. He takes his star power to another level that had me sitting back like, damn, I apologize. I wasn't familiar with this type of game. It should garner Oscar buzz. It was incredible. Silence! But my brother in Christ, Austin fucking Butler as Fade Routha, was my favorite character, and he's gonna be my personality for the foreseeable future. May thy knife chip and shatter. He completely transforms himself and steps into the booth of this psychopathic, murderous warlord. You'd be surprised he played Elvis. One thing I do want to say is I've seen people comparing this performance to Heath Ledger's Joker, and no, he ain't on that level, but he's good. Zendaya was also a huge standout. She actually had a lot to do in this movie, and in my opinion, she was the heart, soul of this movie and stole almost every scene she was in. Chani was just, and Javier Bardem, he was just so fucking good in this movie and actually provided a lot of the comedic relief. And really, the entire ensemble cast is great. Rebecca Ferguson, Florence Pugh, Dave Bautista, Josh Brolin, Christopher Walken. They were all good. Now on to some of the criticism I had. It does feel like some characters don't really get much room to breathe or get much character development at all. No spoilers though. And I do kind of feel like they tried to make this accessible to general audiences and not just huge science fiction fans or fans of the book. To be honest, I'm not sure how general audiences are going to respond to this movie, but I do feel like there's a lot in here, especially action-wise, for them to keep their attention. But I mean, for the most part, general audiences aren't going in there for the filmmaking aspect of it. Like, they don't really care about that shit. Like, all they really care about is the story and action. But shit, it hit me perfectly, and that's all I care about. But to sum it all up, it really feels like Dune Part 2 is one of them ones, man. I found myself like almost coming to tears with just the sheer amazement of filmmaking I was watching on the screen. But I mean, I'm a fucking nerd though, so obviously I rated this film 5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. By the way, follow me on Letterboxd. Last thing I'll say about Dune Part 2 is it really feels like time has stopped and we're all bearing witness to a moment in cinematic history that's going to be talked about for generations.